have never created a tarot deck ever. I mean, I'm experienced with it, with reading tarot, learning and studying it, but to create it, it did have its walls, it did have its bumps, but when you're passionate about something, you push through and you get through it. So the whole challenges that I had to face and all of that was just, an everyday thing and not something that I didn't let that put me down and I didn't let that say, you know what, forget this project. I mean, I was passionate about this and here it is. So it wasn't hard to create this tarot deck. And Jasmine was very cooperative and collaborated fantastically. And I thank her for that. I mean, to work with her artwork and to work with her, like I said, I'm starstruck. And it's the truth.
All right. And for those listening, the call-in number again is 347-989-8851. If you have any questions, just call in and press the number 1. Again, it's 347-989-8851. We also have the Google Hangout back up and running, so go in there if you have questions and type your questions in that way. So getting back into the new moon and how the dark moon and how the dark moon is actually going to be in Virgo while the new moon is going to be in Libra. I know you said you're not really into astrology and things like that, but is there any things or rituals that you don't mind sharing that you do during the dark moon or the new moon?
Well, there are times, so I don't know if this ritual falls into that category which you mentioned, but there are times when the moon is full and it's midnight, I do go outside and stand under the moon just to get a bit of cleansing and just to get a little bit of psychic meditation, and monitor my spirituality and monitor my reality. So that is a ritual that I do, and sometimes I'll do that when I'm about to read tarot cards for myself, just to empower my ability and to empower my spirit.
Nice, nice. What about you, Glammy? Is anything special you do during the dark moon or new moon or even a full moon at this point?
Is there anything I don't do is the question. I mean, I just got, oh my gosh, like for this one coming up, I got a staff that I, had custom made in Norway for a friend of ours, and that bad boy is going out. I'm doing a ritual with it. I'm doing a cleansing. I mean, it's going to be amazing, like off the hook. And I do know that, these energies are going to be really amazing because we have the equinox coming up, and
yes, we do.
Oh my gosh, we have the full moon, we have a lunar eclipse. I mean, girl, it's just so much going on.
It is. I forgot all about the equinox coming up. Oh, I'm ashamed.
That's right.
But yep. Since we do have Jay on the phone, let's get into since, as you said, it's a cleansing. How do you cleanse your cards, JR, and how often do you suggest to be cleansed? I know it still goes with, everything has to be personal to our own energy, but as far as you, how do you suggest, or one possible way to cleanse the cards?
One way to cleanse the cards. There are many ways, many ways to cleanse the cards, but when I cleanse my cards is when I read for somebody else. I mean, and by read I mean face to face. What I do is that I will wrap them in a black sack, and when the moon is full, I'll leave them outside or not outside, but just by my window, and let the moon hit and reflect on the cards, just so it could give it a cleanse, a spiritual, a psychic cleanse, and also. What I also do is that outside, I put my cards with no sack, no anything, wrapped in nothing, and just pour salt around them. And after pouring salt around them, I pour a little bit of alcohol, and then just light it with a match, and you'll see like a ring of fire. So basically, anything, any energies, anything that vapors out of the tarot deck is captured within the salt and burn off. So that's my way of cleaning it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in love. Girl. I am in love. I love that. Oh, my God. I have never heard of that. I think that's absolutely freaking amazing. And I like the idea too, like you said, about putting the deck on the window, like on your windowsill, because a lot of people don't have they don't own their own home. They're in an apartment, and a lot of times they get asked that, can you just put it? Is that still okay? Is it still effective to just put it in a windowsill? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. So I think that's just genius.
And also, what I also do is that I also cleanse my cards with sunlight. But what I do, this is where the person needs to wrap their tarot deck in a bag, or in a sack, or a pouch or something. Wrap it in there and leave it by sunlight, because if you leave it exposed to sunlight, it'll tarnish the illustration, the art. So just leave it like that, because as they say, the sun gives vitality, gives vibrance, and the moon gives serenity, it gives peace. So when a tarot deck, an instrument, gets both of those energies, it's very effective when it comes to reading.
All right, now I have another question, because I know my own ritual. What I do when I attune myself to my decks or my cards, I go through each one, I look at them, I also sage them, I clean them, I also put different herbs and stuff actually inside the box of the bag with them. That helps me to get more in tune with the cards. I don't necessarily read the books. I do sometimes, but most likely not. So my question would be to you, how do you suggest to get in tune, to really get your energy connected with the cards, especially with your own deck coming out and the rumor of your second deck coming out? We'll get to that too. Forgot to talk about that one. But with your own deck coming out and everything, how do you suggest people should get in tune with the cards? So you just look at the graphics, read the book and the graphics, or whatever?
To get in tune, well, this is from my experience, I carry it with me. Whenever I'm going to go to the store, or if I'm going to go out to a doctor's appointment, I take my deck with me, just so there could be a bond, a creativity of bond. Also, crystals, quartz crystals, actually play a big role in connecting the reader and the tarot deck, the energy, in other words. So whenever I carry my deck with me, I throw in the quartz crystal, and I do journal. I journal a lot of the cards. What I do is I journal what I perceive from it, and I journal whatever the book has to say. But I strongly recommend that somebody rather journal the deck by looking at the illustration, to just perceive, get a perception, get a concept of what you think it means to you. Because when it comes to learning tarot, there's never any right or wrong way to learn. So that's my advice. Some people follow the book, they go by the book, but when you go by the book, you just constrict and limit yourself to what your imagination, what your psyche has to say about it. So
Nice.
that's one advice that I go with being able to connect with the tarot deck for the first time, or with any tarot deck that you'll acquire in the future.
Nice.
Okay, I think I'm the only crazy. Am I the only crazy person who sleeps with their decks when they first get them? I sleep with my deck. I do. I sleep with them, especially if it's a deck that I've really been waiting for a long time. I'll do a reading in the evening before I go to sleep to, just to see what's coming up for the next day, or, how my day went. And then I put them next to me and I sleep with them, or I put them under my pillow. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just cuckoo.
No, I have done it myself.
Actually, a lot of people have done that they sleep with their deck under their pillow. And I've also read and heard from people that they have dreams about their tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I've actually done it myself.
So when they have dreams, they connect. The person, the reader in the tarot deck, when the reader dreams about their tarot deck, they connect, and they're inclined subconsciously and spiritually. Yep.
All right. Now, my next question is, I have actually a question from an inbox question that our engineer Jade is saying someone is asking. I know we're supposed to be getting into the new moon, but it's so juicy about tarot to finally have a show to talk about it. We'll try to get back to the new moon and get a little bit more information before the show closes, because we got about 20 minutes left. Again, for those who have questions, you could call in at 347-989-8851, 347-989-8851 and press the number 1. Also, again, we have the chat room is now back open with the Google Plus, and as I see people are already doing, you can inbox me or Jade or Glammy or whoever you're inboxing with questions. So we're going to take this first question, which I'm going to assume is for you, JR, or for anyone who wants to answer. The question is, how do you know you've picked the right cards, and how do you know you're reading them right? I believe the second question was already answered as far as reading them right. It goes with tuitions, but how do you know you've picked the right cards? It's kind of the same question asked two different ways in a way, but go ahead if you like to answer that.
Well, when you select it, when you select the right card, basically your intuition and your gut feeling has a lot to do with it. There are some cards, for example, some people may read a reading about love. They draw a card and they say, okay, this one doesn't fit with me. This is not what's happening. They draw another one. You know what? This one fits with me. This is what I can relate to. So that's how basically you know that you've chosen a right card. The same thing with choosing a right or wrong deck. You go to a bookstore, you see one that appeals to you, you get it, you feel the connection, it's yours, you know? So, but like I have said earlier, there's really no right or wrong way to read the cards. But to that question, when you feel that you've chosen the right card, your intuition, your gut feeling tells you that you've chosen the correct card.
Yes. Now, I do know that from times that I have chosen cards, I've actually walked into stores and I realized that my hand is touching cards, is touching the cards I need to get, or I'm already looking in a direction that the card's in without me even realizing it. It's just like a meditative state that just automatically takes me to that section, and then I'll just feel it through my hands what cards are supposed to get. That's just for me. Glammy, how do you know when the cards are right for you? And then we'll get back into the new moon and stuff like that.
All right. I was obsessed with reading my own cards, which is really, really hard when you're first starting out. It is like so difficult to read for yourself. So I knew when I kept putting the card back in, and it would pop back out. And because I would always try to, if I didn't like the card, I'd be like, I don't want to see that, and I would put it back in and it would come back out, and I'd be like, oh, no, you don't, like, get back in there, and nope, that card would come back out, and I would know whether I liked it or not, that was the right card.
Also, if a word of advice is Jade, I believe she's the one that asked that question about the wrong or right, or how do you know you've chosen the correct or wrong card?
Yeah, someone asked
also,
her.
One strategy that I would always use, and this goes back to the crystal quartz, I would make a pendulum out of crystal quartz, and I would lay all my cards on the floor, and with the pendulum, I choose. If the pendulum said yes to a card, that's the one I drew. If it said no, that's the one I skipped. And basically, when it said yes to a certain card, you better believe that it was on the dot accurate.
Oh, I love the pendulum. The pendulum is one of the things I have been working with since I was 15. Oh my goodness, I love the pendulum. But yeah, that wasn't a question that Jade had. It was a question that somebody had inboxed her. But that actually is, a great idea. I work a lot of times in private readings with the cards and the pendulums. But I do want to get back to just because the second half was supposed to be about the new and the dark moon. I want to get into a little bit about explaining that, just for people who did call in to listen to that portion. The dark moon is actually a 3-day period. So for this dark moon, it's going to be, I believe, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And with that being said, majority of the time, this dark moon will be in Virgo. And Virgo, because the dark moon is good for creating, Virgo is actually better with practicality. So if you haven't already thought about something that you want to do, this is a good time to think about it and come up with practical ways to start creating it, practical ways to get in contact with the people you need to get in contact with, or just put it out there that you need, people who are realistic and really there to help you with your project, if you're serious about your project, because like attracts like, and it'll come back to you. Also, with that being said, I wouldn't suggest this is not necessarily a good moon for raising energy. You can, but at times there are other moons that are better for raising energy, like a Leo moon that's perfect for raising energy. Virgo is just more for a Virgo dark moon is more so for analyzation. And with the new moon coming up, new moon being in Libra, we're going to go right out the dark moon into Libra. Libra is perfect for balancing. So for a lot of people who are starting these projects, Do not get frustrated. What's going to happen is that the energy is going to come to you where it's going to be practical. And with the balancing moon, because Libra is the first sign coming out the lower half of the astrology chart, it's going to help you balance that with your everyday life. So you're not spending too much time in one section, neglecting the other. This is how the energies naturally are, so do not fight against it. It will help you with that. Now, getting back to the tarot, because the tarot is so juicy, and I might just make the rest of the show about that. Getting back to the tarot and the decks and everything else. JR, when people, do you suggest, I would say this, do you suggest cleansing the cards before you put them under the pillow? Because I always suggest cleansing them as soon as you get them. But, like, when should you charge the cards first, then put them under the pillow, or do you just cleanse them and directly put them at the pillow? Like, how do you suggest that? And then we'll go into Glam and answer the same question.
Well, when you sleep with a tarot deck under your pillow, you are entitled to cleansing it or not, but a lot of people prefer, if it's like a hand-me-down where somebody hands you a tarot deck that they've used, a lot of people cleanse it so it would not carry that other person's energy, but instead so it can carry yours. Sort of like a canvas that's been painted on. Did they give you a canvas and you want to draw on it? What you're going to do, you're going to clean out all the paint and draw your own stuff in it. So that's the one way that a person can cleanse their cards. But when somebody sleeps with a deck next to them, they have the option if they want to cleanse it or not. So that's really just up in the air. It's if you want to, go for it. If you don't, that's fine. So.
All right.
Well, for me personally, I love smudging. I don't know. I'm a fire girl. I like lighting stuff up. So I love to smudge it if I can, or use incense to cleanse and clear my cards. And I do also believe in charging them in the moonlight on a full moon, but also the sun from the full moon that day, the next day, putting your cards out for a little bit. But like JR said, of course, make sure your cards are covered. And don't leave them out there. I think you can leave your cards out there. It doesn't matter for how long, an hour, and then bring them back in, and then it's charged and it's cleansed, and it's within a 24-hour period. I mean, there's that.
Yeah, and it's just so many different ways out there to charge cards, to cleanse cards. Like Glammy, I am a fire girl myself, so I will smudge the mess out of them cards. I will also then smoke them out with a meditation incense, and then I store them again in a bag. Sometimes both with amethyst, celestite, and I also use a herb called star anise. I'll put all that in the bag to help it bring more of a meditative state, and then I'll sometimes put it underneath my pillow. I have never tried the sun method or moon method putting out there, but I think I might try it with this new deck that I have just to see what happens. And that's pretty much what I love to do. We're at 15 minutes towards the end of the show, so I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. That hour went fast. But before we go, of course, we want to hear one more time from you, JR, and it's been lovely to have you on the show. Where can they go, once again, to pre-order their sales for your first deck and second deck, or, where can they go to get in contact with you?
For the Beautiful Creatures Tarot, it can be ordered by the publisher at Schiffer.com. It can be ordered through Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon, anywhere, any online, and how they call them, brick motor stores.
Brick and mortar, yeah.
They can be bought either or, but of course they will be for pre-ordering. But I believe that at the momentum and the speed and the acknowledgement that the Beautiful Creatures Tarot has gotten, I think that's going to be available just about any age, anywhere. So, and as for my second tarot deck, which I'm working on, that I've not come to a decision if it is going to be published by publisher or if it's going to be self-published. It's still too early in development and in production, but I'll eventually think of something. But a lot of people have asked me, is your second tarot deck a sequel or a prequel to the Beautiful Creatures Tarot? Is there any connection, any correlation? And the answer is no. My second tarot deck is something completely different from the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. There may be a hint, an element of influence, but when you look at my second tarot deck and the Beautiful Creatures Tarot, your reaction is going to be, what the heck happened here? You know, they don't go together. But that's going to be the initial reaction. That was even my reaction when I came up with the concept and idea of my second tarot deck. I was like, oh my God, what's this? But, you know, like I said, I just let spirit and the muses just influence me, and they paved the way for me. So,
well, and when we talked about it, it's going to be more of a darker deck, like more gothic, or like I know that you were saying it was completely opposite.
Well, I'm still debating on that, whether to do. It's just, as you can see, the Beautiful Creatures Tarot is between dark and light. It's dark because you see the gothic and macabre and shadowy elements, but then it's light because you see this beautiful, big, googly-eyed, you know, characters with wings and butterflies and so forth. So I am still there. Like, I can't say much about the second tarot deck because, I mean, I may change my mind like a Gemini changes their idea. So I'm still on the fence, but I'll eventually get to a theme somewhere, some way along the line. I'll get into a theme for the second tarot.
I said you'll get inspired. You know, something will just click, and you'll just be like, "Aha! This is it. This is exactly what I'm going to do." You know, so
yeah.
I think, you know, it's just going to be amazing. You know, following up after this, you know, your first deck is out. I think you're just on a great momentum, and you know, the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and speaking about momentum, and I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate to have my parents and my siblings who are supporting me along the way. Though they may not understand tarot very well or publishing or anything like that, but just them supporting me and just them giving me their hand for support is enough. That's other for me. So to have that support from my parents and my siblings, it's fantastic. And I couldn't ask for anything else than that. And also the rest of the tarot readers and tarot collectors out there who have also embraced, acknowledged, and who are anticipating the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. An enormous thank you, and it's been fantastic. It's been a fantastic year, and I hope that when they receive the Beautiful Creatures Tarot, and when you guys as well, Glammy and Tana as well, when you guys acquire the Beautiful Creatures Tarot, I just hope you love it and give it a home, because that's all I want for it to have a home.
Well, I think one of the things that I want to do is, which is really big on YouTube, is to do a video, a review on the cards.
Yes.
People love that. Viewers love doing reviews on decks. So I know that'll be one of the first videos I'm going to make. But I just want to let listeners know that you're going to be interviewed by me again.
Yes, they are. Yes, he is.
On October 5th at 10 a.m. Central with Mariam Moore from Akashic Inspirations. And, you know, when he found out that it's live, he was like, oh my gosh, he's like, I'm going to have to find a nice outfit. I'm going to have to get my hair done. And I'm like, that's nice.
Because the other people who are also supporting me, my family, aside from my parents, aside from my siblings, they're going to be watching too. So I have to put on a good image, have to put on a good impression, you know, Hollywood now.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I mean my parents and my family and my siblings, they've just been fantastic. Fantastically supportive, and I know they're listening to this interview right now.
Hi, Mommy. Hi, family.
Just for them to, and like I said, this is my 4th interview, and and if I leave anybody out, family, I'm sorry, but it's just too much it's so many people to remember, you know?
Right. And the family comes first. family comes first. You have to always go to them first. And I think what you said is very important. That even though our families don't quite understand exactly what we're doing, that they're behind us. I think is just it's amazing, and I think that you're so fortunate, to have the family behind you, and I love that they're listening. I think that's so cool.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, so I just think that's cool.
That is beautiful.
It is, and when you have your family support, nothing else matters.
That's right.
And
nothing else matters.
And we're going to end on that note because we are coming down to the end times, and we are not going in overtime tonight. It's getting a little too late for the first show to do that. It's been so much fun. This hour has went way too fast. Oh, my goodness. Again, thank you, JR, for joining us on this show. For those who want to go ahead and pre-order his cards, you can find him at Schaefer Publishing, or you can find JR at j.r.riviera on Facebook. Glammy, where can we find you at?
Oh, Glammy'sAngels.com.
That's right, Glammy'sAngels.com. And because we got kicked out of the commercial, Glammy, you mixed up a surprise I have for you, so you're going to have to rewind the show to listen to that. But this has been wonderful. Thank you all for joining us on Practical Spirituality. The next show will be next month, either the Friday of before the dark moon or the Friday of the dark moon. So listen now, check out for those dates. My name is Dia, Oreo Ori's Oasis. You can find me at OreoOasis.com. You can also find me once in a while popping up here on Jay's station, WLTC Radio, and also her other station, Erotic Talk Radio. Every once in a while, her Thursday night shows. You can also find me every Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern on the Gumbo Cafe with my co-host, Shani Fenderson. Also, we already have our Mantra Mala bracelets out that are exclusive from Amber Glow Designs on OreoOasis.com, and look forward to my books coming back out. They are already, my children's books, they're already released now on Amazon.com, so you can go there, Amazon.com, type in Oreo Oasis or Ori's Oasis, and my 3 children's books will come up. They are out and ready for sale. With that, we're going to wrap it up. It has been beautiful. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
Night.
Good night. I love the confidence. You got it. Just to get my attention and the note and the tricks. When we made our connection, she just nodded and winked. On this booty day, how time we get together. Let's dance now, hook up later, we can do whatever. She had confidence, but it's all